All right. We're drama frogging, guys. T1 with more data. The truth behind T1 media suppression allegations, Ashley Kang versus Joe Marsh. Another competitor steps up to the plate. Ashley Kang apparently went on this channel. You guys remember this channel that basically broke down the information from the agency. And in the Korean community, this is a very respected YouTube channel in terms of the journalistic aspects of it. That they are trustworthy in terms of verification of information and so forth. So, we continue. She claims that T1 withdrew internet access after she reported on a private Discord controversy involving ONER, DDoS attacks affecting players. She was asked to publicly apologize multiple times in exchange for reinstatement. She refused, citing journalistic ethics. Ashley confirms she was excluded from interviews during Worlds 2022 and MSI 2024, while other outlets were granted access. Despite Riot stepping in, she says this just isn't about access, it's about protecting the integrity of esports journalism. Says that she will still report failure on T1. I just want to be treated equally. Honestly, if you have any grudges with T1 or Joe Marsh, this is the time to do it, bro. People are upset, people are angry. This is the time to air it. And I understand why somebody wouldn't, because they're afraid, of the backlash or whatever, because obviously, like as an example, we saw how, people ate up, that AMA interview that happened with Joe Marsh, right? People ate it up. Let's take a look at all of the context, though. Ashley Kang says that she is scared to talk about this. She recalls how it all started back in 2022 after T1 allegedly began blacklisting following an article she wrote. She explains the concept of taming the press. Now, teams can use access as leverage to push favorable coverage. She says, if you come here, we won't allow you to interview T1. You're banned now. Well, this is definitely like a thing, right? And that's why you see like some journalists, we can't call them journalists, because they are just cloud goblins most of the time, is that you see, for example, the way Sheep Esports reports things or how Travis Gafford reports things. There are certain relationships that they want to keep, right? And they don't claim to be journalists. Because obviously, without those journalists, without those relationships, they don't have anything most of the time, right? They don't have anything. They are not. This is this journalistic integrity. As he confirms that after writing an unfavorable article about T1, interview access was revoked. The article in question involves T1's CEO March running a private Discord with team information including scheduled pictures and updates in advance was shared with a few fans. But shirtless photos of ONER were shared in the Discord, which sparked controversy due to sexualized comments in the chat. One fan even talked about rubbing body oil on ONER. Ashley felt it was her duty to report on it. I'm going to read that again. One fan even talked about rubbing body oil on ONER, and Ashley felt it was her duty to report on it. I'm going to read it a third time. One fan even talked about rubbing body oil on ONER, and Ashley felt it was her duty to report on it. Joe Marsh said it wasn't for Korean fans only. It wasn't for Korean fans, only for international fans, and claimed it was a part of a paid service for $69. Nice. I'm of course joking. That is kind of weird, especially with the context of rubbing body oil. So while Korean fans were paying, Joe was sharing paid content with close international fans. Korean fans were mad because, one, sharing paid content that wasn't free. The inappropriateness of those remarks towards ONER. She wrote an article about the issue, which she says got her blacklisted. At Worlds 2022, she realized Horizon wasn't receiving any interview opportunities with T1. T1's PR wouldn't give a clear reason why. T1 PR kept delaying and gave her vague answers. Eventually, T1 PR told her it was a decision made directly by Joe Marsh. She says she was shocked because she reported the incident factually and gave T1 the opportunity to comment. Plays devil's advocate with understanding that while T1 can favor journalists and speak positively about them, she argues that fair journalism includes covering controversies and suppressing it hurts the scene long term. That is a fine and balanced thing, right? Obviously, T1 is in the business. It might not seem like it recently, but they are in the business of course, just, of course, having good public relations. They want to make the company look good because that is where they derive the value from. They are, of course, at the behest and at the mercy of their advertisers who want to be seen in a good light, of course. Joe had to apologize officially and acknowledge that what happened in the Discord was inappropriate and even had his pay cut. Said that she felt not only that she had to report it, but since she speaks both Korean and English, she had to help clarify for overseas fans who are reacting to rumors about Korean fans. Ashley reached out directly to Joe Marsh, who expressed feeling hurt and said Ashley disrespected him and his family since they saw the articles and tweets. He asked her to apologize, saying that she harmed his family in text messages, but she couldn't. If I apologize for reporting facts, then I stop being a journalist. Ain't no way. He asked her to apologize. All right. I'm assuming, right, that this is something that is verifiable, right? I'm assuming that when they say reached out, these are direct messages, right? These are things that are like, there needs to be a record of this, right? There needs to be a record, you know? If I apologize for reporting facts, eventually Joe said that he would get her interviews, but she only received one interview afterward, but a far fewer than other outlets. She felt it was a clear act of retaliation. During the tweet thread, if T1 PR team at that point redirected me to you, of course, I would have gotten in conversation to you. Oh, so this is proof. Oh, so this is basically a quotation. Let's just confirm that the 645 segment has that quotation in like some kind of a message app or something. Let's just see it. It should show up here, right? But these stock images go crazy. All right, so it's just plain text. I don't know if that constitutes as proof. I just feel the need to say that, right? But so this is supposed to be that conversation. During the tweet thread, if T1 PR team at that point redirected me to you, of course I would have gotten in conversation to you. But given the gravity of the situation, I was not going to skip lines. That's something I can pivot for future cases if you as an individual prefer that and T1 PR team accepts that. I honestly thought you had more respect for me and my family to reach out in a situation like that instead of piling on without context or nuance. I've been good to you guys, and now the water was a slap in the face, and for my family to have to read horrible things about me. Jesus. In which case, T1 PR team could have provided the said context and nuance or refer me to you to provide the said nuance. Yeah, of course, bro. She reached out. And it was a reported tweet, not an opinion tweet, in stark comparison to what other media outlets wrote, at which point I was doing my due diligence for someone who reports on serious news on the LCK side. It is understandable if you got hurt, and I'm personally sympathetic for that hurt. Don't try and blame Redacted for you choosing to repetitive tweet. It was a choice you made. I don't know, man. Joe Marsh is just a goose, man. She explains how asking for an apology in exchange for media access creates dangerous precedent where journalists self-censor and avoid truth-telling out of fear of eventually becoming company journalists. If I let myself be muzzled like that, then what's the point of doing this job? Yep. A similar thing happened again in 2024 after she wrote about T1's DDoS issues, quoting Faker, who shared how disruptive it was. She says that she enjoys T1's stream, but it's a big deal if a top team gets the practice disrupted because of DDoS, so she reported on that. She noticed that some fans were saying that Faker was using DDoS issue as excuse for poor performance, but it was the players who were expressing that things were tough for them. She thought it was good for players to express concern, but T1 demanded a public apology, or else she'd be blacklisted again. Despite 15 plus other media outlets reporting the same thing, Ashley was the only one punished. She believes the resemblance stems from 2022 article. She contacted Joe Marsh and asked him, is this true? I already want a public apology. He said, I need to see you apologize publicly, otherwise there will be no more T1 interviews. He said, my article hurt them. I don't know, bro. If this is true, which I don't like, I remember hints of this, right? But this is so crazy, bro. I don't know, bro. Joe Marsh needs to step down. Like, save T1, step down. Like, it's just the best move at this point. It's just the best move. Not only because of this, right? But because of the previous thing too. Like, he is harming T1 so hard. At least, like, make your position non-public. Maybe you're a wizard in the back office and you're the GOAT. You know, if that's the case, God bless. You know, but just step down from a public positions. That is crazy. She says the pressure to apologize felt like a psychological conditioning. Even after the fusion, she kept applying for interviews and got denied repeatedly, unlike other outlets. She concludes, I'm risking everything by speaking out. After MSI 2024, she kept applying for interviews, but got none, which was unprecedented, with only hers getting denied while others were accepted, despite other outlets talking about the DDoS issue. Ashley reflects on how difficult the decision was emotionally. She thought she might have to quit, but even if T1 blacklisted her permanently, now she feels at peace. This ain't about losing access to interviews about her identity as a journalist. That's why she went public. She saw the Zeus videos and decided to speak up. She still supports T1 players even though Vogue has silenced her. To be fair, this is just like a timing thing, right? Because the incentive from Ashley's side, right? Obviously, I am just painting the full picture. I'm not saying what is or what isn't. This is a very, very good timing to do so, This is a great timing to do so. She still supports T1 players, even though Vogue has silenced her. She criticized T1's PR for filtering even reasonable questions under the guise of protecting players. Like when Doran replaced Zeus and was blocked from answering a fake question in Red Bull France about Doran filling Zeus's shoes. Damn. Just drop that in. So they have a PR department. They actually have a PR department. She explains how this PR strategy often backfires. Joe March's public statement to protect Zeus actually fueled tampering rumors and he got torn apart for months. Ashley believes media should be used as a tool, as it is in traditional sports, and the players deserve to speak freely. Well, maybe this is a mistranslation, but this implies that, what they did before was using media as a tool by creating and shaping a certain narrative that is beneficial for them, right? And not talking about Zeus at all, whatever, right? As it is in traditional sports, Ashley worries this worst case scenario is not just blacklisting, but personal. I think when it's used as a tool, when journalism is used as a tool, I think it's a bad thing, I think it's cool if you use it to announce certain things, but if it's just like a rumor mill and you are colluding with journalists, I don't think that necessarily is a good thing. Ashley worries the worst case scenario is not just blacklisting, but personal legal attacks due to Korea's strict defamation laws. She's not fluent in Korean and gave up her life in New Zealand to be in esports. If this becomes a past tense chapter, that would be heartbreaking. I don't really think that there is a concern for this, because I do think, I do think, as long as you do things right, I think you're all right. And worst case, you can just say it's an evaluation or an observation, right? And say that you were talking about fictional characters with those exact same names. Because that's what the T1 lawyers cooked up. She considered returning to programming, her first career, even jokes about making RimWorld 2. I have no idea what RimWorld is, but just reading the name, it's probably not what I think it is. But the idea of leaving esports not by choice but by force feels soul-crushing. Talks about how rewarding it's been to watch players grow and build trust over time. She outlines 3 outcomes. Best case, T1 treats her fairly again. That's... middle case, she remains blacklisted but can live with it. Worst case, she's attacked or forced out entirely. But wants to keep reporting even in the worst case scenario. Past events with Joe March hurt her both as a journalist and a person, so she feels like she had to speak out. And also, she saw the Zeus video. She says the conflict isn't about T1 players, it's about specific internal issues and vows to remain ethical and professional regardless of access. Ashley didn't expect to be in the position, thanks hosts for giving her space to speak. She insists that her views won't influence how she interviews players in the future. She's never given a chance again. After the conflict occurred, Ashley was able to receive help from Riot HQ. Though the frequency is still limited, she was able to resume interviewing players. But she states if she kept such a matter buried deep inside, making small compromises to survive, it would eventually eat away at her identity as a journalist. The host talks about cultural nuance around the world blacklists in Korea versus the English-speaking countries. They also note that multiple other journalists have quietly shared similar concerns about media suppression, but are too afraid to speak out. Yes, we too feel like we've experienced emotional retaliation and media control from the organization. T1 has not issued a response, despite being contacted for one. I do think asking to apologize is insanely psychotic. From T1's side, to being selective about who you interview with and who not, and to favor favorable coverage, that is understandable. It's scummy, but it's understandable. The most fucked up aspect of this is how Joe Marsh made the claim that you're hurting his family and that he demanded an apology for access. I don't know how you can be so obtuse to put that in ink and put that in a message. I think that's extremely that's extreme levels of negligence. Because let's say from a company side, once again, I made this thing. I also mentioned how they can spin the Gumayushi PR and say, Gumayushi fought back to get his spot. We're going to have a 6-man roster. The coaches succeeded in what they wanted to do. Gumayushi has an amazing form again. It's going to be fantastic. And then it will be like, all right. People would speculate, they probably want to put Gumayushi in for the money. But people would be like, yo, that makes sense. Everybody looks like a hero. The coaches look like heroes. Gumayushi looks like hero. Smash did his part. This is a cohesive, together 6-man. I've said this multiple times. Here as well, bro. If you don't want to interview with certain outlets, you don't fucking walk to them and go to them and tell them, you better fucking apologize, mate. And then we're going to grant you that again. Because it's just so petty and ridiculously stupid and emotionally fueled. Emotionally fueled. It just seems like Joe Marsh from outside, this is how it seems. With the information that we have, it just seems like he is there. He is a CEO that was placed there, not on merit. And he just wants to put his fingerprint on stuff. It's like, oh, I did the ZFGK roster. That's me. I got all these world championships. I am making sure that the media narrative is good. I am the one who put back Gumayushi. I am the hero. I am the hero. Because now, like, from this perspective, I don't know. It's just that it just seems like, I don't know, from T1 side, this is just causing so much damage, no? It's just causing so much damage to the brand. The main thing that T1's got going for them is that, which is something that is global, is that the attention span of people is fairly limited. So if T1 win, everyone's going to forget about everything, right? But there's going to be there's going to be lingering effects, you know? There's going to be lingering effects. But the moment they lose, everything just comes fucking crashing down again, you know? And I think this is very, very poor form. Very, very poor form. I think, I repeat, being selective about who you interview with or not, that's perfectly understandable. Like if you have certain journalists that always are like super nice to you or whatever, that's on them, that they have very little integrity, right? And that's what they're doing, you know? But you don't fucking say that people need to apologize. That's crazy, by the way. That's nuts. Let's read some of these comments and then we can just watch some more League again. To be fair, the Dido's reporting by her did force Fake at T1 to apologize largely for a situation where they really shouldn't have. She made a lot of mistakes in her reporting during that time in general. This is vague. I don't remember. Because I remember reading that it's like they lost and they mentioned the Didos and a journalist asked. And I understood how it comes across as, you know, making excuses. I don't know how you can blame. I read that not through Ashley Kang, and I did think, and it did sound like making excuses. Doesn't mean that it isn't a valid excuse. You can make valid excuses, but they are still excuses. The DDoS being a problem is a valid excuse, but there's no difference between valid excuse and invalid excuses. There's just no difference. Timing is what matters. And there, in that moment as well, I did think that T1 made a PR mistake, right? People outside of the competitive team needed to say that this was a very difficult thing to put pressure on Riot. And the players shouldn't have commented. Because the narrative then is, oh, if the players are failing, they're going through a very, very fucking hard time. And if they succeed, they conquered, you know, this fucking hardship. I'm just praying for Joe Marsh to address everything. That would be fucking hilarious. But I think after the lawyer speak that we had, I think Joe Marsh has, you know, I think I would be surprised if he's not. All right. There's a thread here as well. Let's take a look at this thread, maybe for context. Let's see. People put this as a... Then after this, another incident where she tweeted about bugs seemingly found during a match between JJ and T1. Because of the way it was worded in the screen I used along with the tweet, it led some people accusing Korea of cheating or abusing bugs. What? What are we saying? Tom Cringe is on blue team, no? What? She tweeted about bug and it led to some people accusing Korea of cheating. What? Another incident which is more recent, not exactly related to T1, when AK made DJ Academics made a weird tweet about Chinese server not getting attacked, which was worded in a manner that most definitely caused people to unfairly place the blame on Chinese league players. She did delete and explain herself better later, but the damage has already been done. As now people are saying Chinese people, players, or teams, or online gambling organizations are backing the attackers. And lastly, the incident related to Faker, where AK quoted Faker. So AK is Ashley Kang, not fucking DJ Academics. Jesus. Obviously, I knew it wasn't DJ Academics, but I just made a joke because I didn't know who AK was. All right, AK-47. Where AK quoted Faker in a particular manner which stirred some pretty bad waves against the players. I'm not suggesting that AK has certain feud against T1 or that AK has initiated agendas. I'm just laying these out because I feel like people can be too trusting of AK's transitions, tweets, and other acceptances. He has on several occasions made mistakes and impacted players negatively. Yeah, these two examples are really troll. I know how big AK is in terms of translating SDK concepts of global audience, and pointing these out does not in any way cancel out the contribution made over the years. I also understand many similar scenarios. Why can't we... Well, I just want to see the tweet. I just want to see the tweet. Okay, but what about the tweet? Like the one tweet we want to see is the Faker one, and it's not here. It was such a nothing burger post, bro.